Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Guys on Gaffr. My name is Joel, and Abhishek and David are with me. And normally, at this point, when I start an episode, I ask them how they are. But I imagine as we are recording these PV pods continuously, not much has changed in the last hour or so. So I won't ask them that question. And because also we are doing a marathon recording session, I'm going to dive straight into team number 9 out of 24. We've done 8 teams in episode 1. If you've watched this and you've not seen episode 1, go and check that out and see the first 8 teams. 8 more to come now in this episode, and we are starting with Blackburn Rovers. A reminder for those of you who may have forgotten, we are recording on the 23rd of July, and that therefore a lot could change transfer market wise. So there'll be many caveats of if such a player leaves and all that. So yeah, just bear that in mind as we go through. Blackburn Rovers, there has been very little transfer activity to speak of in terms of incomings, none on the slides. The only incomings they've actually had seem very irrelevant to me. They've signed some 18-year-old left winger from Linfield in Northern Ireland, and they've signed an Everton under-21 goalkeeper who I've not heard of for free. They're probably not going to be the first team players, so basically no incomings. Outgoings, Valstedt, goalkeeper, backup goalkeeper, I guess, and Semir Televic, who I've never heard of. So basically, they've done nothing this transfer window, really. so far. And I imagine that's a bit of a concern to fans. In terms of fixtures, Derby at home, Norwich away, Oxford United at home, Burnley away, Bristol City at home. So 2 promoted clubs, so 2 quite good fixtures, and 2 pretty tough fixtures, and 1 middling fixture. This is another club where we have fan input from FPL Dronach Darren, who is of the Man On pod. And I will read out what he has said. And as with all the others, actually, he's gone into quite a lot of detail, which is really good. So thank you, Darren. So here we go. He says, "Good news, the transfer window is still open because right now I believe we're the only club with no incomings." Fair enough. Bad news, the transfer window is still open and I'm terrified we might lose Sammy Smodics. After last season, it wouldn't be too surprising. And actually, at this point now, when we record, there are rumours of him going to Ipswich and Leeds. Those are the 2 kind of clubs that are linked with him at the moment. And he does say that if he was Sammy Smodics, looking at the lack of ambition of the club, he'd be on the next bus to a bad Prem side, although he used a slightly different word to the word bad. Okay, what else has he said? He thinks they will float above the relegation zone again. He doesn't think they'll go down, fingers crossed, but it could be closer than any fan would want. And in terms of Gaffr assets, he says this will be quick. Britain at 5 million, not bad. Over 40 appearances last season, 1 goal, 4 assists. Sigurdsson at 6 million. He only had 17 starts last season and 12 sub appearances. He did get 7 goals and 2 assists. He does expect him to start more, so maybe. He then says, Sammy, beautiful Sammy Schmodics. 9 million, but as the league top goal scorer, but sadly he doesn't think he can do it again. He says maybe keep an eye on Tyree Stolen, who he thinks has more to offer. 39 starts, 6 goals and 4 assists last season at 6 million. Frankie Costello didn't turn out to be the steal that we all thought he might be last year, and he got injured. And now that he is reclassified as a midfielder, it's an avoid, and he wouldn't be touching anything up top. He also says the opening 7 fixtures are not bad, aside from kind of Norwich and Burnley, and he's hoping that they can kind of give them some points on the board early and a bit of confidence to make a run at Bristol City, Preston and QPR after those tougher games. I also pushed him a bit on the 4.5 million defenders because that's what a lot of people are talking about. He says, Hyam, Carter and Pickering aren't awful. I'm pretty sure that Wharton is out for the season and McFadden has been released, so they have to bring in more. If you don't want to stretch the 0.5 more to Britain, who can also operate a bit higher at the pitch, then he says he guesses they aren't awful if they look solid. And if they do look solid, then 4.5 is a steal. So he doesn't seem massively confident. But yeah, obviously if they do improve defensively, I guess that was the problem last season. They were pretty awful defensively. But under Eustace, with a full pre-season under his belt, some people do seem to think he will make them a bit harder to beat this season. So we'll see. So guys, thoughts on Blackburn?
I was a bit surprised that Valstedt already had gone because he has just been there one season and he didn't get much starts, I think. So that's a bit bad for him, I guess. He was a very good keeper in Norway, but didn't get the chance in the championship, unfortunately. It's was expected that Simodics would be that expensive. And I think one of my biggest regrets from last season was I almost never had him in my team, and he scored like the most goals. It was like a very bad choice from me. I can't even remember why I didn't, but yeah, want to be different, I guess. But yeah, 4.5 defenders are always exciting and nice fixtures, and you could like have one on the bench and just start in a favorable fixture. But yeah, it's good that he said which ones are actually the ones to get, because that was a bit difficult without some intel.
Yeah, Abhishek, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I don't have much to add because I really don't know what to think about Blackburn until they do some business, bringing in players. I don't know how they're gonna survive the relegation fight. So I have the similar concerns as of Darren. But Sigurdsson can be a decent option if we are talking about from a Gaffr point of view. Sigurdsson can be a decent option. Hopefully, he has his injury behind him and can play a much bigger role than he played last season. But whenever he played, he was a threat. And as Darren mentioned, Julian can is also a decent option if they aren't able to hold off to Smodix, which I don't think they will. Mm, So, yeah, I think apart from those two, Gallagher can be an option, but it really depends on how Eustace team looks like come game week one and how the transfer market or how Dagwan do in terms of transfers, because he really needs help, whether defensively or in attack. He has his mid. I mean, he has got a lot of midfielders. I mean, he has. I mean, and being if we are, I mean, I don't know what to expect, but Fleck, our budget from the days of FPL, Fleck seems to be a decent option. Can he become a decent option in Gaffard? Which I highly doubt that, but I'm gonna just throw it out his name just for the sake that he has provided me fond memories when I owned him in
He's on Flet.
FPL. So,
Flet? Is he at Blackburn?
yeah, I mean Sheffield United one, he probably scored me some bunch of points. I
He's
mean,
not.
as a bench player,
He's not in the
came
game.
on.
He's not in the Gaffer game. Is he
Are you
signed?
He's
surprised?
not, but he's yeah.
Have they signed him like today or something? Have I missed that?
He's apparently he's in the squad. I mean for
Okay.
and I'm basing it off sofa score. I don't know whether he's still there or not.
Might have been on loan last season or something. I
But
don't know. But yeah.
yeah, but
Anyway,
if he like, yeah, if like signs for them, I mean he can be an option. But apart from that, I think the three that I mentioned before, I mean Julian, Gallagher, and Sigurdsson,
yeah.
are the
Yeah,
only options as of now. But
yeah.
John Eustace and the Blackburn fans really need some players. Otherwise, they're
Yeah.
gonna be troubling. They are in trouble. They're gonna be in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, for me, obviously, like I understand why they've been priced at 4.5, but they could be good value. At the moment, I actually have Pez and Pickering, just because you kind of 4.5 options are, like I say, tough to come by. They're often just the promoted teams and really, really poor defensive teams. So I've got them both. I suspect I won't have pairs if the one we were just talking about, more at Sunderland ends up being number one. I would probably, because I don't really want two Blackburn defence. Yeah, I think I can see them being popular in terms of just having them as the cheap options. Smodix for me, if he stays, like it's a fair price, but I don't really see him replicating it, and because I think if he does replicate it and he does score the same amount of goals last season, he's absolutely an option. But I don't think he'll do that. And as he's someone who, when he blanks, doesn't get bonus at all, not for me. If he does go to like Leeds or another Championship side as well, could be playing for a better attack, which could be beneficial to him. But also, I think he'll be a lot less talismanic. He was the main man last season, and he would not be the main man at a better Championship club. So, therefore, his lack of bonus, I think, is probably going to be something that puts me off him at 9.
I mean, one thing I can add to that, because his points can certainly improve. I mean, yeah, fair enough. He will not be a talisman whether he signs for Leeds or some other Championship clubs. But if he signs for an attacking Championship club, he will get his due diligence in terms of Gaffr points, I guess.
I'm not sure.
In
Maybe.
terms of key pass, yeah. But speaking of midfield players, what has happened to Ryan Hedges and Rankin Castillo? Where they are now? They are
just not
certainly seemingly they haven't been. They are not being called upon as options nowadays.
Well, I
From
reckon Costello's a midfielder now, so
I mean, so have a look out for those two players, because apparently if Smodix leaves, those two might be important players for Blackburn.
I just don't think there'll be options though, to be honest. But yeah.
Yeah, but they're not options. Yeah.
For me, I'm putting them in the bottom 6 here at the moment. Where do you guys put them quadrants wise?
Yeah, only because Eustace is there, I'm just gonna say bottom 6. Otherwise, I had them as one of my relegation candidates as of now, purely based on transfer business. So I don't know how they're gonna improve the transfer market, because those owners are not good. The owners of so yeah, bottom 6 for me as well.
Yeah, if they lose Modix, they go down, I think, pretty much. It's
yeah, could happen. Cool. Right, next team. Swansea. Their transfers so far. I scroll down to them. Okay. It's taken a while. They're right at the bottom here. Okay. They have signed Gonçalo Franco, who is a central midfielder from some Portuguese team. Signed him for a couple of €1 million. And Ji-sung Yeom, who's a left winger from a South Korean club, for about €1 million. Don't know anything about those two. In terms of outs, Jerry Yates is at Derby on loan. Nathan Wood has gone to Southampton, one of their centre-backs. Plaqueta's gone to Oxford United as well. And Ogbeta, who was at Bolton last season, has gone to Plymouth. He's a left-back. So those are the bits of transfer news for them. In terms of fixtures, tough-ish. Middlesbrough away, Preston at home, Cardiff at home, West Brom away, and Norwich at home. I suspect this will be another short and sweet one. Anyone of interest here at all?
And no, none of that. Maybe Timon. Timon did sign for Swansea, right? Maybe Timon, because he seemed to have done well for Luke Williams last season, especially in the wing back role. But they haven't signed a decent forward. I mean, all the 4 forwards that they have, Josh generally needs to do well. Hopefully, he has his injury issues behind. He can be a decent option up front for Swansea. But as of now, I think they need a new goalkeeper as well, because Rushworth has gone. So, yeah, I think they need some transfer business to do pretty quickly. Otherwise, they're not looking good at the moment, apart from that 2 wing back Josh Key and Josh Tam, and the two Joshes can be decent option anywhere in between the season, or they have a decent run. But apart from that, I'm staying away from them.
Yeah, fair enough. David, anything from you?
Yeah, only thing I can remember from like last season from Swansea was like I think it was Joe Allen that I had in my team. And he did some things for some reason.
Of all people.
Yeah, I think he got a goal or an assist or something. I was like over the moon
Nice.
for him, but like that was like super lucky and like very good timing, I guess. But probably not an option. But it was just 5 million, so that was fun. But I think he didn't even play at the end of the season, so that was the only thing I can remember. I don't know who Ronald for 6.5 is, but he's their most expensive player. Do you know anything about him, or is it just
Not
like
really. I've
No.
seen him in a couple of teams actually, but I don't really know
Yeah.
about him.
So maybe if even if we don't know who he is, maybe he's an option. But keep looking at Twitter and see if why he's a good option, because people won't have him for no reason, I guess.
Yeah. Fisher's, there as the 4.5 keeper option, like one of those people that's in that bracket. So that could be okay. But yeah, maybe they'll sign someone, as Abhishek was talking about. Josh Key last season was obviously all right. Although he was, I think, a 4.5. Was he a 4.5? Anyway, he's 5 this season. Was in and out of the team at times last year, but we know he can pop it with the odd assists and bonus. So I know I've also got Cabango in my draft, but it's a placeholder for a 4.5 million defender. I just know I want that slot to be a 4.5 million defender, and so I've chucked him in. So it doesn't mean I'm going to have him, but it looks like they do have a couple of 4.5. Maybe Darling could also be a 4.5 defender that starts for them. So yeah, and yeah, no interest in their attack whatsoever. Where are we putting them in terms of the 4 quadrants of the table? David, where are you putting them?
Mid-table. I feel like I say mid-table to every team. That's not the top 6, but yeah, they can have good runs, I guess. And yeah, I can't see them going like down to the bottom anyway. So, and not going further than that. So that's something around that.
No. Abhishek?
Yeah, for me, it's also middle of the pack, I guess. They're not going to be they're not going to be contending for the promotion. They're not going to be contending for the relegation. So probably the middle of the pack. Stay rooted to the middle of the pack, I guess.
Yeah, I have them bottom half. Not bottom 6, but I feel like they could be close to the bottom 6. But yeah, I'll put them bottom half. They'll be okay. They'll be safe. But yeah, nothing much to speak of this season for them. Cool. Team number 3. Sheffield Wednesday are up next. So their transfer business is as follows. Oh, they've got quite a long list of both ins and outs here. So key transfers in: Jamal Lowe on a free from Bournemouth, Max Lowe on a free from Sheffield United. Charlie McNeil is a under 21 Man United under 21 forward, presumably not going to start. They've also signed Olaf Kobaki, who's a left winger from a Polish team, for about £500,000, and Jan Valery from Angers, right back. Is he the one who's at Southampton or something? Do I know him? Yeah. They've also signed him at right back. Ben Hamer, goalkeeper from Watford. I imagine he wouldn't start though. I imagine he's just a backup. Some attacking midfielder called Ingelsson from Rostock. Don't know anything about him. Oh, they've signed Nathaniel Chalobah from West Brom. That's a good signing. That's a really good signing, actually. And they've got Beadle, their keeper, back on loan from Brighton. So he was, I think, on loan last season, and he did very well. I imagine he'll start again this season. In terms of outgoings, Will Volks to Oxford United, as you mentioned on episode 1. Lee Gregory, 35-year-old striker, has gone to Mansfield. Juan Delgado has gone to... Oh, is that the Chilean Everton? Chilean... Yeah, it's the Chilean Everton. I actually visited the town where that's based. I didn't see the stadium or anything, but I'd forgotten that they were, or at least I didn't know where in Chile they were based until afterwards. But anyway, that's an aside. They've also had a few other outs, but no one important. Reece James gone to Rotherham. Yeah, that's it really. So fixtures: Plymouth at home, Sunderland away, Leeds at home, Millwall away, QPR at home. Not bad, I suppose. Now then, what are our thoughts on Sheffield Wednesday, guys?
I feel like I like the ins they have. They seem like useful players and like exciting players even for. At least if I see the team without them, they're not as exciting. But like, yeah, good signings, I guess.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think the most business that has been done by them, and clearly they are not going to be fighting relegation this season from the signings that they have done. They probably be in the middle of the pack. I mean, from 14 to 16 position, they're gonna finish comfortably there, I guess. With the signings that they have made, they're quite decent signings, I guess, and certainly they will help them over the course of the season. But the signs are good enough, especially the form, their home form will once again seal their fate, whether they survive the finish mid-table or whether they slightly try to push towards the top half. I mean, especially in try to challenge the position of 11 to 12, where they can finish so that they something they can build on under the manager who seems to be ambitious, who seems to have a really sense of uh, attacking out attacking or I mean, what I said, the teams under him really likes to play. I mean, they are linked with Ugbo as well, the top scorer, I guess, from last season. They have been really so. If the Ugbo deal gets done, then I think they are really looking good, especially to finish within that position bracket of 11 to 14. But as of now, I think 14 to 16, they're gonna finish like that in those positions. And yeah, I like what the business that they're done. They're not top of the moon type of signings, but they're decent ones that can get the job done when the going gets tough. So yeah, I'm hopeful. Not they're certainly not relegation candidates like last season.
Yeah,
In
I think
fact, they were not relegation candidates for me last season as well. So yeah.
particularly the defenders and keeper, they've clearly been priced based off of their kind of second half of last season, like 5 million for the keeper, 5 million for most of the defenders, and I think that's fair enough. Danny Rowell is obviously such a good manager, and did such a good job at rescuing Sheffield Wednesday last season, and I agree, I like their business a lot. Chalobah from West Brom I really like in terms of strengthening that midfield. In terms of Gaffr options, I'm not currently interested in anyone. If Ugbo comes back, then I am interested, because he was very, very good. He's a decent championship level striker, and he did very well at the end of last season. So he would be of interest if he came, but at the moment, Jamal Lowe obviously has past championship pedigree, probably not going to go there at the moment, but one to keep an eye on. So yeah, not really anything from a Gaffr point of view, particularly as the defence is all 5 million. But I guess you've already given your quadrant, Abhishek. I'll give mine. I think I say the same. Bottom half, but probably not relegation threatened. They could even push sort of 13th or something. I don't know, but yeah, I think Daniel's done very, very well. Like if they can stabilise this season and not be in the relegation dogfight, they've done very, very well to kind of stabilise as a championship club if they can do that. David, where are you placing them?
Yeah, same as you guys. I think they have strengthened and are like more strongly built to not be in like the relegation fight. But yeah, it's hard to say if they are going to surprise us or not, to be honest.
Fantastic. Let's move on to team number 4. 1, 2, 3, Team number 4. And it's a good one. Coventry. Transfers. Let's have a look. Who have they signed? In terms of key ins, Jack Redoni from Huddersfield for €5.9 million. So quite a hefty fee. They've also signed a centre-back called Louis Binks from Bologna for a couple of €1 million. And a Swedish goalkeeper, Oliver Dovin, from Hammarby in Sweden. And some Australian left winger who I've never heard of, who I don't think will be relevant. Callum O'Hare has left. Liam Kelly has left to go to Rotherham. Simon Moore, the goalkeeper, as we've mentioned on the past episode, has gone to Sunderland on a free. Matty Godden has gone to Charlton, so he's gone. So that's Coventry. And fixtures, Hull away, Millwall at home. Ooh, I think you've got the wrong fixtures on this one, Abhishek, because it says Coventry play Coventry at home in Game Week 3, which clearly can't happen. So I'll get them up on the site. Wait a second.
No.
It's Stoke away, Oxford United at home, Bristol City away, Norwich at home, Watford away. Never mind, easily done.
Sorry.
No, that's all right. That's okay. Right, thoughts on Coventry, guys?
I mean, they got a new number 1.
Yep.
Finally, would it be the season of Victor Thorpe? It can be. With O'Hare leaving, I think Thorpe, Rudoni. I mean, that's an exciting midfield group of players that they have got. The two main men up top, Haji Wright, and who was the other one? Forgetting his name. Sims, yeah. Both of them were on fire last season, so they got quality throughout the squad. They finally got a new decent goalkeeper who is known for shot stopping. From whatever videos I've watched, whatever game that he played for India in the Swedish league. So yeah, looks like a decent one. They already had a decent group of players. Starting 11 was looking decent. The only thing was that how they replaced Callum O'Hare. Now they kind of have replaced with 2 players, with Thorpe and Rudoni taking turns, maybe. So yeah, I'm kind of hopeful on how they're gonna do this season. Probably push for playoff spot, but yeah, it's interesting time. It's the defense that I'm pretty worried about, because certainly the 2 center backs and the left back that needs to sort out, because Bid will kind of play week in, week out.
Got De Silva, though. De Silva's fine. Left wing back.
De Silva is fine, but he has a card written on him. But let's see, because I think they do have Casey Palmer as well. So yeah, they have the attacking options, the midfield options. They seem good. It's the central defense and the left back area that they need to, I think, improve, because the right part they have Van Ewik. So yeah,
I highly doubt they'll recruit on left back. I think maybe centre back I agree, but I think left back, I think they're fine. But yeah, David, what are your thoughts on Coventry?
I would love it if Thorpe is an option, actually, because it's less spots that have to be taken by other players. And he's 5.5, so that's a big drop for him. I guess they were expecting lots when he came in. And I like Contra as a team. I feel like they were a bit hard on not getting promotion last season, because they played very well, and they almost got the big cup run as well. They had the big cup run, but they could have gone further. So I think they will be hungry to do even better this season, even though they don't have O'Hare, but he didn't play that big of a part anyway, and they still did well. And they still have both their big strikers, and yeah, I'm optimistic when looking at that team, actually. So fantasy-wise, I think there will be lots of options, just nailing the ones that are the best ones.
Yeah, in terms of fantasy options, defense feels expensive. I think Van Uwijk is rightly priced at 6 because he's pretty good for bonus, if I remember correctly from last season. I do think he could be an option at times, but for now, I think it's one of those that's just a bit too expensive to fit in. But yeah, if you did have him, I would think fine. Yeah, good pick. I really like Rodoni actually at 6.5. I know he didn't pull up many trees in terms of output at Huddersfield, but he was playing for a very poor team, and he was very much the kind of one of their better players in that very poor team. I think he could do well. And at 6.5, he's actually in my current draft. I feel like he could do well. I could be wrong. I'm not. It's not a hill I'm willing to die on or anything. But in terms of that price range of those sort of 6 to 7 million mids, I like him in comparison to what else there is down there. So I have him at the moment, but we'll see. I could be wrong. Sakamoto could also become an option. He showed it in flashes last season, but never really had the consistency to become a Gaffr option. In terms of the forwards, I really rate Haji Wright. 9 is not cheap for him, but I do think he will be an option at some point. Sims could be as well, because again he's obviously a good goal scorer at this level, so both of them could become options. I would be tempted to have one of them in my starting teams. There's just a very, very good Middlesbrough striker who's probably slightly ahead of them at the moment, who we'll come on to, I'm sure.
Before we move on, I think Wright got a knock in the preseason friendly,
Yes.
and he didn't play today's friendly as of now. I don't know the severity of the injury, but just to keep an eye out on Haji Wright, because if he's off for the first few games, then it's going to affect quite a few teams.
Yes, I saw it seemed like Getafe did not play the friendly like a friendly and just were like steaming into tackles, which is not very good, is it? Where are we putting them in the table, guys? Roughly.
Yeah, they are the playoff contenders for me once again. Whether they make it to the next level, then they get that extra push after the final appearances. I think so. Yeah, they need to get promoted now because they have done it all. I mean, they have the team, they have the players, they're good enough players. The only thing that's eluding them is a promotion. So hopefully they get this done this year.
I'd love to see it happen. I really would. Where are you putting them, David?
I think playoffs are pretty certain if I look at the team. If they get O'Hare replacement as well, I think they could like go up even better. But like
arguably Rodoni is the O'Hare replacement.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, I can see them doing very well, but it depends also a bit about the teams around them, I guess. But at least playoff, I would say.
Yes, I think I'll put them in the playoffs as well. I think I'll put them top 6. I feel like they'll be in contention, absolutely. They'll be in the bunch of teams sort of fighting for the sort of 5th, 6th spot. They might miss out, but yeah, I think I'll happily predict them top 6. Mark Robbins is still there. How long has he's been there for ages, hasn't he? Definitely the longest serving manager in the division by quite some distance, I think. Great manager, really good team, and yeah, I agree. I think they'll have a good season. Next up, team number 5 or team number 6? I've started losing count now. But QPR are next on the list. And in terms of their transfer business, there's been quite a bit going on. So in terms of ins, Paul Nardi is a goalkeeper from Ghent on a free. I guess he's going to start, I think. They've also signed a right back called Heverton, nearly Everton, but he's Heverton, from CF Estrela in Portugal on a free. He's a right back. They've signed a striker from Lugano, who are a Swiss team, called Zan Schelar, Slovenian, I think. for a couple of million euros. Seems to
Yeah,
be
he
a bit of
played
excitement about
played in
him.
the Euros. Yeah.
Who else? They've signed a Scottish centre back called Liam Morrison from Bundesliga's second team. And that's basically it for incomings. Outgoing, Sinclair Armstrong to Bristol City, as we have mentioned when we spoke about Bristol City. Chris Willock has left on a free to Cardiff. Jordan Archer, backup keeper's gone to Portsmouth. I think that's it in terms of actual notable ones. Begovic is now without a club. Kakai is out of contract. Albert Adome is out of contract, and Andre Dozel is also out of contract. So a few players who were in and around the squad who are out of contract there. Fixtures: QPR at home. Not QPR at home. West Brom at home, Sheffield United away, Plymouth at home, Luton away, Sheffield Wednesday away, so a tough start for them. And we have fan input from Chris Hermitage, who's gone into quite a bit of detail. So let's see what he has to say. Thank you, Chris, for sending this in. He says that this is a significantly different write-up to last year, which was a dark, bleak time, but luckily it's now the time of sunshine and optimism under Marc Cifuentes, who obviously was a really good appointment last season when they were in trouble. He transformed the squad, and everyone saw how well we played in the final third of last season. The 4-0 victory over Leeds was well and truly deserved, and our best performance in 10 years. Wow, high praise. That was a good performance. I did watch that game, actually. He expects them to be 10th to 15th this season. Whilst I am optimistic, I don't feel we have enough goals in the team to do much better than that. Cifuentes made us defensively solid to begin with and then worked on attacking aspects. We instantly played better football under him compared to under Ainsworth, and our defence became Gaffr relevant, not just Kenneth Parr. We will remain 4-2-3-1 this season. Willock and Sinclair Armstrong have gone, with Zanchala coming in, as we talked about just now. He will be the big hope for goals after a very impressive record in the Swiss League. I'd wait for a few weeks to judge him for Gaffr, especially as our first few fixtures are quite tough. Best picks will be Nardi, the goalkeeper, if he's 5. Parr at 5.5, Smith at 5.5 could be useful at times. He's very impressive against Spurs in a friendly. But Anderson is the one that caught my eye instantly at 6. He was a great signing for us and is a classy player. I'd expect 12 plus attacking returns from him over the season. Chair speaks for himself, very good for bonus and remains our key player. Ryan Colley, 5 million, serious one to watch, big hopes for him. So a few interesting options there. Okay guys, thoughts on QPR?
It's a bit hard to say how they will do, but it's a good point about them having better form at the end of the season, and if they go from there, it's a good look, I guess. They kept Chair. He's probably the talisman. But like a striker, it's a bit bleak there, I guess. I like Dykes as a offensive player, but that was just like too because of a coincidence. But he's not really good, I guess.
Yeah, Abhishek, what do you reckon?
I think one thing, I was looking at the squad. One thing is for certain, they have really tall center forwards now. I mean, like Dykes, they have Michael Frey, and they have Zan Sailor. So both of them are really above 6 feet tall. They have the tall attacking players. So when QPR are gonna have a corner, it's gonna be really interesting how they're gonna attack. I mean, as how Chris mentioned, Lucas Anderson. Yeah, I'm also thinking along the same lines. He's gonna have a decent season. Chair, if he's done with his all those theatrics that he has been doing, whatever he's been doing outside of football, if he has. If he doesn't face any more disciplinary issues, then he will be a decent option, like always. But the important option will be Lucas Nardi. I mean, the new goalkeeper. I think he's a shot stopper. He really played well against a Spurs side, boasting of Son, Madison, Richarlison. He really played well against them, made quite a lot of saves in the first half and in the second half as well. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him perform in the championship. He's a really good signing for QPR, especially. I mean, Sufentus is known for starting from the back. I mean, he always has preferred his stability in that back line. So he's finally got a new goalkeeper who gives him that stability. We all knew how Kenneth Paul performed last season. Hopefully, he does perform like that in this season as well. The only thing I'm worried about is the right hand side of the defense. I mean, Reggie Cannon is a decent player, but he's not fit enough to play. I don't know how long Steve Cook can play consistently. Lakeshi is a decent option, but yeah, the only thing that I'm worried about is that right hand side of the defense. If they can sort it
Yeah,
out, and I think
they need someone in there,
QPR
don't they?
is a team. Yeah, I mean, if they do sign someone of decent caliber in there, then I think QPR can punch above their weight this season. If they play to their potential, it's, the goals is the only thing that I'm worried about. Hopefully, they have those three up top. Hopefully, they can get 30 to 35 goals in between them, so that they can help them towards whatever ambitions they have for this season.
Yeah, obviously we've not seen there's a couple of players not priced up here, so the keeper's not priced up. If he does indeed come in at 5 as expected, could be, if you're opting for a 5 million keeper, he's one that you could definitely go for. Could be one of the better ones. Defensively, I guess if Reggie can just start the season at right back, he's 4.5, whereas the others are a 5 and Parr's 5.5. So maybe if it's 4.5 million starting right back, you could do worse than that. But I do think potentially paying an extra for Paul could be good. I mean, he always seems to sneak his way towards the top of the standings in the defenders, and no one ever owns him. He always just seems to be in that kind of top 5 or so of defenders in the league quietly. And if this is a team that is going to be better defensively this year, then maybe he is worth serious consideration. I see someone that never comes into my mind, and yet always does quite well. Not interested in Chair for the moment at 8. It's probably a little expensive, and there are probably better options at the moment just because of attacking returns. Obviously, he's great for bonus, but he's not been great for attacking returns last year.
Yeah, I mean, it's the baggage that he carries now, especially since the last season. That baggage needs to sort out quickly. Otherwise, it's not going to happen, because if he's gonna play one game and miss 2 games every now and then, you're not gonna spend 8 million on him. Mm, that amount of money on him, you better rather spend a lower amount of money on a player like Rodoni or someone else. So, yeah, I mean, he needs to die down on that baggage. That
Yeah,
it's
the
not
call's
there, I
about to
think.
end, by the way, so let's wrap this up. Quadrants in with no explanation. Where are you putting them in the table? Quickly,
Yeah, I'm
with no
putting
explanation.
them on the mid table. I am putting them on the mid
8th.
table.
8, interesting. I'll say top half, like 12th, 11th ish. So yeah, interesting to see what price the striker comes in at. We'll see.
Yeah.
And yeah, I agreed on Anderson. He could be useful too. Colley is a 5 million midfielder if he is indeed going to be any good, as Chris said. So if he does turn into a bargain, like, you never know. If he does emerge, he's very, very cheap. All right, our call is about to end, so we will move on to the next team in just a moment. Okay, our next team is an interesting one. It is Middlesbrough. In terms of their transfer activity, in terms of ins, they signed a central midfielder called Aidan Morris from Columbus for like £3.5 million. They've signed Bergzorg from Mainz, who was at Huddersfield last season. They've signed Ayling. I guess he was on loan last season. He's permanently signed now. In terms of outgoings, Paddy McNair's out of contract, which is interesting. Silvera's obviously gone out to Portsmouth on loan. They've signed. They've lost no one else of interest. A couple of keepers. So that's that. Fixtures wise, Swansea at home, Derby away, Portsmouth at home, Cardiff away, Preston at home. They have a really good start fixtures wise. They've probably got the pick of the bunch fixtures wise. And so, what do we think about Middlesbrough assets?
I mean, I'm quite hopeful for Middlesbrough this season because I mean, Lathialet, or what's his name?
Yeah, Attila. Yeah.
I'm gonna call him Emmanuel. So he will have a preseason of sorts, proper preseason of sorts, and I think he will once again be decent up front. Finazas will have another good preseason. He was January signing, I think, for Middlesbrough, so he will have a preseason. So he will provide. He will be a good option as well. Bugs, I mean, they signed the Huddersfield guy, Bergzog, but I don't. Probably he was playing for Huddersfield. That's why he didn't catch my eye that much. We'll have to. The jury is still out for him whether he can do well or not. But the duo of Bergzog and Lathalat is quite a dynamic duo for Middlesbrough if they can start scoring those goals. Luke Ayling is a decent option if you're looking at defense from Middlesbrough. Senny Dieng is also a 5 million 4.5 million keeper. Senny Dieng this season.
Sorry, what was that? I'll tune out.
Senny Dieng, how much he is priced? 4.5 or 5 million?
5.5. Big hike. He
5.5.
was only 4.5 last season because that was his QPR price before he moved. So
Yeah, so he, I mean, he can be a a season keeper as well. If Middlesbrough if Middlesbrough perform well enough, because he's 5.5, so he has to be a set keeper for anyone who is picking him up. But I think they have done decent business. Aiden Murray is a player that I kind of like because of the Columbus Crew, people who are playing MLS or watching MLS. He is a decent option and decent pickup for Middlesbrough. So yeah, I'm quite liking what they have done and what they had already in them. The Aussie guys looks decent enough. Engel can be a decent option at left back. So yeah, the likes of Hackney, McGree can be a decent option as well. So, yeah, I'm quite hopeful. Hopefully, Michael Carrick can deliver a playoff-like performance, which they haven't been done for the past 2 seasons. So, hopefully, this is the third time lucky for him to get a playoff-like perform kind of season to to go through with the new deal that he signed at the start of the season. So yeah,
David,
that's fine. Yeah,
I was thinking about, is 6.5 McGree, is that cheap? Should it be more expensive? Is it about right?
probably about right. He's not really have the consistency for me.
How about Asas? Is he too expensive? Like, he's the same price range as Chair, and
for me that's too expensive. Considering the other options around that price, I think he's obviously a very good player, but he was rotation prone last season. I think there's potential there at some point, but for now I'm not interested.
And last season we most didn't pick Jones because he wasn't a defender anymore, but still did well, I think.
It's okay.
Okay, yeah.
So this is the thing. People are very quite hyped up on Middlesbrough because of these early fixtures, and particularly the EFL fantasy guys and stuff. I think I'm not quite as hyped on them as they are. I'm seeing like Isaiah Jones in their teams and Azaz in their teams. And I think Latilaf is pretty much a no-brainer actually in terms of. I mean, he scored 16 goals last season or something. He didn't even start at the start of the season, did he? So he's a brilliant option, and I think he will probably be the most popular pick in the whole game. Come game week 1, and rightly so. Once you get past that, I don't see any need to go double defence. I have Engel at 5.5 because I think he's better value than Ayling. They conceded 62 goals last season. That's quite a lot. No, sorry.
How much is Ayling?
Yes. Ayling 6.
How much is
5.5? For me,
I think
they're not that solid. So I wouldn't be doubling up on their defence at that price. I'm probably going to start with Engel, but I'm not going to double up. I don't think any of their midfielders are great options even in these fixtures. I don't think we have any evidence last season that any of them are reliable to pick in this game. I think there are better options. So for me, it's Latte Lath, at most one defender. These are great fixtures, and that should be borne in mind, but I don't think a triple up's necessary. Which might be a controversial opinion,
Yeah,
because I think a lot of people are like, yeah, triple Lisbon, let's go.
I think you're quite I think you're quite right, because of that rotating midfield that they have, which they will continue to have, because they have added more midfielders to that group. And clearly we are seeing Isaiah Jones will be playing a midfield role rather than a defensive role. So there's no point in going towards Jones. But yeah, he's a defender. I mean, he's a defender in the game, right?
No, he's a midfielder.
He's a
So he's a
midfielder.
non, I think that makes him a non-option.
Yeah, so I may. I mean, you are going for Engel, which is really valid for the reasons, but I'm not too far. I'm not sure. I'm not against spending 0.5 million on Luke Ayling as well, because I know the production that he will give, especially in the right hand side of that Middlesbrough defense or midfield, whatever you can say. So
Yeah, he killed me end of last season as well, Ayling and Engel. They both killed me, particularly.
Don't let that stop you from picking him. I know you have. It's easier to not go for players that you have bad experiences with, but like
he got like.
I mean, I have fun.
He had like no assists for the whole season. Then he got like 2 in one game or something. Like when everyone ended up having him, I mean, it's like really annoying.
He was. I mean, that was. I mean, that
did
was
this
quite
to you.
understandable.
Yeah, it's personal. Sorry, Abhishek. Go on.
No, I think that was quite understandable, because he signed from them in January, and he was not fit enough to start the games. But he has now, with a full preseason, we know what he's capable of from his Leeds United days. So if he has a decent amount of run in that Middlesbrough side, he will produce those numbers. And it's taking nothing away from Engel. He's a decent option, but I just think that spending that extra 0.5 million on Ayling can be a good option. But yeah, Engel, Ayling, and Lathalat seems to be the top 3 options for me from Middlesbrough, apart from Dieng.
Anything else you'd like to say, David, on them?
Nah. They will do well in the first fixtures, fancy-wise, I think. So it's just about picking the right ones.
Yeah, and where are we having them in the table?
A playoff for sure.
Yeah.
I'm going to put them just outside the playoffs. 7th or 8th.
Ooh, controversial. Don't become controversial.
I think they're being overrated slightly. I do think they'll be in the mix. They'll certainly be in the mix. I think they will miss out slightly. That's my guess. Okay. Let's move on to Cardiff. Cardiff. Let's have a look at their ins. So, Chris Willock's a good one. That's quite an interesting one for me. On a free from QPR. They've also got Callum Chambers in from Villa. That could be a good signing. He could be good at this level. What else?
Nothing else.
Nothing interesting at all. Ojo's back from loan. Bacon's back from loan. Out Ebu Adams, whoever he is. Don't even know who he is. He might have even been a starting player last season, but he's gone to Derby, central midfielder.
No, he was a starting player for Derby, so he wasn't interested.
Fair. Remains Sawyers is out of contract. Ojo's out of contract actually. He's come back from his loan. He's out of contract. And Diegu as well. He's gone. So yeah, not much to speak of really. There, I guess the 2 big interesting ins are Chris Willock and Callum Chambers. Fixtures are tough. Yep. Sunderland at home, Burnley away, Swansea away, Middlesbrough at home, Derby away. Anyone of interest for Cardiff?
Which Ramsey is it that's playing for them? Is the one
that's Aaron.
Is he a good one?
Yeah. Aaron Ramsey formerly of Arsenal. Yes.
Sure, yeah. They have Willock. It's at 6.5. Is a bit cheap, isn't it?
an option. That interests me. I'm not going to start with him, but he's on the watch list definitely.
Yeah. I think I was reading on the press conference. In the last friendly, I think the manager said that the owners have promised him big center forward. So I'm looking forward to it. Who that big center forward is, depending on who he is, my thoughts will change. But as of now, I think if I'm really looking for a Cardiff option, it has to be Perry NG, because somehow he seems to be the only option that where the points are really focused on, whether it's clean sheets, assists, goal potentials, whatever it may be. The signing of Chris Willock is a really good signing for him
He just needs to
and
stay
for
fit, doesn't he?
Yeah, he has to stay fit, but I mean, in that system that Cardi play, Chris Willock will thrive, I guess. But all depends on who is the center forward, because Callum Robinson as a center forward is not going to be cut out. Is not going to cut out for me. Kenan Etete is a good, decent enough player, but with his penalty, with his penalty issues, I really don't know whether I could trust him again. But yeah, that's the thing. Ramsey, I don't know how fit he is. It's really whether it's really Perengi or no one as of now. Horvath can be a decent option in goal if they settle on a number one, because they seem to rotate their number ones quite a bit. Horvath can be a decent option if you're looking at him. How much is he? 5 million or 4.5?
He's 5. Probably
That
not.
doesn't make any sense. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Probably it's Ferengi as of now, and whether whatever strikers they sign, depending on them, then Chris Willock becomes an option to in the course of the season. But as of now, if you're putting me on the spot to say which Cardiff asset should I bring in, then it's Ferengi, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. P&G was in my first draft before I'd really looked at the fixtures. 6 goals, 4 assists last season and on free kicks. Did very well last season, kind of under the radar at times. 5.5 million. Upon seeing the fixtures for him versus Engel, I switched him to Engel. That's very much a fixtures thing.
Yeah.
If it was the other way around, or if the fixtures were roughly equal, I'd probably have P&G, maybe. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think he could be a good option. And where are we having them in the table?
Bottom half, maybe, if they don't send a good striker.
Yeah, agreed. Not in the bottom
half.
6, bottom half for me.
Yeah. Not in the bottom 6, but bottom half. Yeah.
Cool. One more to go for this episode, and it is Millwall. So, Millwall. They have signed Macaulay Langstaff from Notts County. Did very, very well in League 2. Big jump up, 2 leagues up, but very prolific at League 2 level. Liam Roberts, a goalkeeper. They've signed from Borough. Not sure whether he'll be starting. They've also signed Lucas Jensen from Lincoln, another goalkeeper. So, not sure who's going to start there. And Yafet Tanganga, who I believe was there on loan last season, but he's been signed permanently from Spurs. In terms of outs, Bielkowski is now out of contract, and they've also lost Alex Mitchell, centre back to Charlton. Fixtures: Watford at home, Bristol City away, Hull away, Sheffield Wednesday at home, Luton at home. Not too bad. Thoughts on Millwall?
I'm surprised they have kept their low prices. Most of them, like Bradshaw 6.5, Fleming is 8, understandably, but Tanganga at 5 is a good player.
Yeah, defensively, they've historically been very good. They just weren't as good last season. If they do tighten up, those 5 million isn't bad at all for a Millwall defender. I guess in previous seasons it's been 5 or even 5.5 or even 6 at times.
Yeah, I feel like it's like a cycle between they have a good season, they go up to 6.5, and then they have a bad season with those high prices, go down, up, and now they're on the down spiral. I think McNamara has been 6 and 6.5. they had all the players that were very expensive, and they warranted their price. But like, if they have a good run, I think 5 is very cheap.
Even last season, they conceded fewer goals than Coventry. Sorry, I don't know if you heard that, but even last season they conceded fewer goals than Hull, Middlesbrough, Coventry, Norwich. So Southampton, even Ipswich. So like,
Oh wow!
even last season, they were one of the better defenses for the sort of mid-table teams. So 5 million does interest me at times for them.
Ooh, that's very cheap.
Abhishek, anything else?
Yeah, I think Lucas Jensen will be the number 1 goalkeeper because they signed 2 goalkeepers due to the sudden demise of Sarkic, which is a really sad thing.
Yeah, really awful.
Really sad thing. So Lucas Jensen will be the number 1 goalkeeper, that's for sure, because he's starting in the friendlies, and they probably have paid that amount of money for a starting goalkeeper on him. The other goalkeeper that they signed today is probably a backup one. Tanganga is really at 5 million. Should be in my draft come game week 1 because I'm really liking what their new manager is doing in Millwall. Especially they showed up defensively quite a bit. So the defensive duo of Tanganga and Jensen might be on my draft depending if Jensen is priced at 5 million. I'm not paying 6 million for him. For a Millwall goalkeeper, I'm not paying 6 million. But hey, we know how Millwall goalkeepers can play. We have seen with Botkowski, we have seen with Sarkic last season. They are decent pickups. Whether you are playing cheaper keepers or not, they're decent pickups. So Tanganga can be an option. Fleming, as rightly David mentioned, is really priced quite low. But hey, that's for us.
I'm not interested personally at 8. Again, I think they're the better.
He's playing up top. He's playing up top from the friendlies. Yeah, he's playing up top. Yeah, he's playing up top from the friendlies.
But surely during the season, he's going to be in behind Bradshaw and Langstaff.
I mean, he's playing alongside Bradshaw. There's no place for Nisbet as of now. He's playing alongside Bradshaw right now. They're playing against Forest.
I mean, I might be wrong, but that doesn't sound right to me.
No, I'm seeing the Forest lineup against Forest. They're losing 2-0, but Fleming is alongside Bradshaw up top. He started alongside Bradshaw, I think, against Reading.
Sure, they're not just playing 1 up top.
No, they're playing 2 up top, 4-4-2.
Are you sure the website's correct? What you're seeing?
That's a big one.
I'm seeing the website that they're playing right now.
I bet the website's wrong.
Do we have a correspondent?
Who's at the game? Shall I just pop down the road to the City Ground? Is it at the City Ground?
I think so.
I'll just pop out. See you. No.
Yeah,
they're playing right now.
They're leading to. Hold on. It's at. No. They're playing in Spain. You're not gonna see that.
Never mind. Then. I will not pop out.
But in the lineup column, anyway, he is seeing Fleming is playing alongside. But yeah, Fleming can be a decent option depending on who the forward that they signed, the new one.
Langstaff. He was
if
really
he
prolific.
starts doing bits, then I think Fleming will be a decent option, because if he finds the back of the net more than what Bradshaw and Nisbet combined has performed, then I think Zian Fleming will be a decent option, and at 8 million will be cheap. Will be really cheap. And they have decent fixtures, as you mentioned, so I don't mind picking him up. If one of Smodic, Somerville, Gnotto, those guys leave, then you need players. Then Fleming can be a decent option.
There's just so many better players at 9 and even 8 for me.
I'll just say I would rather have Fleming than Chair, at least. But
Yeah. Don't know. Similar deal. Similar
Yeah.
deal for me.
Better team though.
The strikers are Bradshaw and Langstaff are on the watch list for me. I'm not going to have them, but again, it's like I feel like this with all there's multiple 6.5 million strikers in this game that for me could emerge as being good value. I'm not confident to start the season with a single one of them. I've currently got 3 strikers that are 10, 9.5, 9. But I am mindful of various people that I could move down to after a few game weeks once they emerge, and I think Bradshaw and Langstaff will fit in that category as potential ones to look out for.
Yep.
Where are we having them in the table?
Papa?
Just outside the playoffs.
I'll say top half as well, but I'm more like the 12th region, 11th, 12th region than just outside the playoffs.
No, I'm going 9th, 10th region.
Okay, cool. Alrighty, let's go. Oh no, that's it. That's the end of episode 2. We have done 16 teams, 8 to go. And so, yeah, do tune in for the last episode whenever that comes out. I'm sure it will be soon, whenever you're watching and listening. So, all that remains to be said for this episode, episode 2, is goodbye from me.
Ha det bra.
Namaste from me.